So, what movie did I watch? What movie did I watch? Oh, God, yeah. So anyway, I watched Whistle, which is I knew was stupid, and I was like, you know what? You know when you go, that movie's stupid, I want to skip it, but then you go, no, 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 I need more movies on my letterbox because I think currently my letterbox says I'm about what, like 4,000 movies in my lifetime. Yeah, I'm 4,990 movies in my letterbox. But yeah, Whistle, dumb movie put on by Shudder. I think this came out in February. You know, that's the best time for horror films to come out. And it's based on the Aztec, death whistle. You blow into it, like that kind of stuff. You've probably seen videos of like pranks where they're like scaring my friends with the, they're like, I'm checking out a spooky place, and someone goes, you know. I don't know. I don't need the Aztec whistle because I can literally just make that scream, Although maybe that would be for like an off day, if I feel like kind of tired, my voice isn't as 100%, then yeah, anyway. So, it starts, what's her name, Daphne, Wolverine kid, and she's like the new kid, she's the weird, awkward kid from the, new to school, but like her cousin, half-brother, whatever guy, so like she's not so, out of the loop. She's got someone in her family, and she, like, her locker that's assigned her was like the big jock guy who died in the beginning of the movie because he had the whistle and bad juju, all that stuff. Fine. And they're like, you can't have this locker, this is our dead friend. And they're like, oh my god, the school doesn't care about like preserving a locker of a dead person. That locker was like so fucking beat up too. Like what are you talking, like what are we talking about, anywho, so like whatever. So like she opens the thing, and like the whistle isn't just like the head thing with the spout and all that stuff. It's in like this big like Game of Thrones dragon egg thing, and then you're just like, what is this? Let me open it. Because again, like these movies all the time, it's like, why not do the thing you would not fucking do? And it's obvious this movie is one of those kind of movies that like you put on because fuck it, you put it on because you want to get angry at something, you want to get annoyed by something. It's a perfect movie for me. It's totally like the 2010s movies that I used to just like randomly find on Netflix, get the DVD, watch it, screenshot it, screen record, whatever, and I do my little like written review shit. Remember when I used to do that stuff? When I'd be like, talk about this movie, and then like a screenshot of the movie would show up at this side of my head or something. Or before then, I would play the clip and all that stuff, and then I'd get fucking copyrighted content ID'd like crazy. Anyway, and that's why I had to do the screenshots. Anyway, so it's one of those kind of movies where it's like, it's low budget. It's like someone made a movie, like you got your IMDb, you got your thing, maybe working your way up, getting them union dues, right? All right, so. But yeah, so she opens up her fucking Game of Thrones egg, and she sees the whistle, and she sees the fucking whistle, and she immediately's like, let me put my mouth on this dirty ass thing, and a thing I don't know what the fuck. Why would you do that? Like, why? Okay, I understand. You open your locker, you're like, what the fuck is all this shit? They didn't clean out. And then you're like, what is this fucking, you're like, what is this thing? You're like, oh. I guess I'll open it. Clink, and then you're like, oh, cool. Freaking Aztec whistle. I don't know it's an Aztec whistle because I'm just a high school student. So I go, oh, whatever this thing is. Oh, like why would you think of like, I'm gonna put my mouth on it? Maybe, okay. They don't explain it in the movie, but maybe like forces from the item draw you to do the doop 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 doop. Maybe. Well, maybe there's that, but they don't really mention it. Like, I guess that's just like you just assume it's inferred or whatever. one of the teachers is played by Nick Frost, random, I guess he needed the paycheck kind of stuff. And I love that. I thought he was, when I saw his name in the credits, I thought like, oh, he's gonna play an American. No, he's not. He's just like, I'm still fucking British as shit. Like, alright, cool, whatever. I mean, American schools do have teachers with like insane accents and all that stuff, so like, having a teacher that's British is really not that far-fetched. But you know, he's like, oh, let me search this up. And I love how he was like, oh, I'm reading the, you know, the inscriptions of da-da-da. And the kids are like, she's like on her, which, bless her for having a laptop and not just a smartphone. She's like, what does it say? Oh, I found this website that's like, you know, like translating from Aztec to English. Awesome, you know? Fine, whatever. And she's like, oh, it means this. And the teacher's like, all right, fine, I don't need a PhD or anything. I just Google it, you know. Which again, it's great that they use a website and not, you know, ChatGPT. Although I think this movie was made pre the boom of all that, because the movie also had that guy that's in Wednesday who got perceivably canceled because he has allegations. Because he definitely didn't show up in season 2. I remember being like, where is that guy? The weird, the extra weird looking one, because she had like that love triangle, and there was like the kind of weird looking guy and then the extra weird looking guy she was with, and I looked up his name and it was like, he's got allegations. I was like, oh, you know. And then, oh, he plays a youth pastor, first of all, who when he was like, hi, I'm the youth pastor, I was like, girl, no. And then he's like, then he was just like, would you like some drugs? I'm like, oh, he's that kind of youth pastor, you know? Youth pastor selling drugs, and the actor has allegations. Ah! Or, you know, whatever. Anyway, so, it's so funny because it's like, I was about to say it's kind of Breakfast Clubby, kind of, because it's like you got a couple of the jocks, like the jock guy who's friends with the main jock guy who died, and then like the girlfriend of the jock dude, right? And, oh my god, and then you got like the girl who's like, I'm kind of different, but I'm smart, but I somehow know like the jock people, like I'm cool with everybody, girl, but I'm still kind of weird, lesbian, you know. And she sees like the main character, she's like, hi, and immediately I'm like, they're gonna, you know. And then you got the cousin who's just like, oh, I'm just so awkward. I really like the girl who I can't tell is a lesbian, you know. But I guess high school, whatever. So anywho, because like the jock guy was being an asshole, and main character girl just like knees him in the groin, which good on her for that. The teacher's like, all right, now you're all in detention. It's like, damn, son, everybody? I guess, you know, sure. And, you know, while they're in detention, that's when, like, they're like, oh, what's the whistle thingy? And that's how they all kind of, like, figured out. And that's when, like, Nick Frost's character, because everyone leaves, and then he's like, do, and then a little bit of, like, the door glass, you know, breaks, like, you know, and it's fine, but then, like, he sees, like, an apparition of himself, but just, like, really fucked up looking, and then he dies. Turns out, it was like, oh, well, he had stage 4 cancer, the fact that he was walking around, da-da-da. And one thing I thought was, like, really ridiculous when it came to the freaking whistle thing, right? So I thought, right, my assumption was they would blow the whistle, and they would have, like, a spirit thing that would follow them, like a La Llorona thing that would just follow them, and then kind of, like, Final Destination, one of the, you know, just pick them off one at a time, which kind of happens in the movie. They are picked off one at a time. But instead, it's like, no, it'll be your apparition of your, like, how you died, but instead of, you know, like one of the girls, she dies, like, she ends up just becoming an old lady and dies. So it's like, wow, okay, if she wasn't around when the whistle was blown and all that stuff, she would have just died as an old lady. But because it's like, you don't have to be that's another thing. You don't have to be the person blowing the whistle to get the bad juju. If you're just around and you hear, you get the bad juju, you know? So, like, any of your death, whether it would be 5 years from now, 40 years from now, whatever, will happen within the next, I don't know, like, week or two, from what it seems like, you know? And it's like, sure, fine. I just thought it was funny where they're like, your death comes faster! And it's like, okay, I'd rather if they just had, like, a weird spirit thing, because I think one of them, like, initially when they're like, oh, weird stuff's happening, there was just like kind of like a Silent Hill monster crawling in the background. It's like, yeah, let's go with that. Let's go with the weird. Let's go with like the weird, like all that stuff. Like, let's do that. No, instead they're like, you see yourself, you're like, what? Why do I look like I was in a car wreck? And it's like, oh my god, I died in a car wreck X amount of years later, but I'm gonna die now. You know, it's like, I'm dead. Okay, you know, like slowly but surely, you know, they get picked off one at a time, all that stuff. And it's crazy because it's like, you don't die, in a sense, at the scene that you would have originally died at. Like the car crash thing, the boy was just like in his room, and he was just like, you know, and then like the freaking, you know, the cousin, he's apparently supposed to like fall into, you know, the meat grinder, you know, the thing, you know, the, what's it called? Not trash compactor, but the, you know, when you're at like a metal thing. Anyway, whatever they threw, you know, Michael Myers into. Anyway, so, but instead of him falling into there, even though they were at the location of the thing, the grinder, metal, whatever, disposable thing, recyclable, the whatever, he would just be like, and then his arm would just like kind of disappear to water, because it's like, it's water, blood, you know, because it's like he went into the fucking non-wood chipper thing. You know, that kind of stuff. Which, you know, great acting, you know. And it's like, again, I'm like, for sure, fine. And I love how, like, the cousin, I guess because he reads this, like, specific comic thing, and it gives him the idea of, like, oh, if I don't know where they get this information. It's like they just kind of, like, realize it. Like, they just, that's it. You know, the hat goes on the head. You know, like, kind of Star Trek logic, but not, because there's no information to cause them to discern the thing that they concluded on. So the cousin person was just like, okay, I'm just gonna capture the youth pastor guy because he's an asshole. He's caused people to die, you know, from drug overdose or whatever not. So he's like, okay, kind of like, if we exchange blood, okay, then, you know, then I won't die. Which, like, he was pretty close to it if he would have just, like, you know, just like, because he cut his hand, and he would have just went like this to the guy, it would have been fine. But he was just like, I can't do it. Like, I hate that. I can't do it. You go all the way, and then you don't do it. You freaking Jennifer Lopez enough it. You're like, I'm going to train to fight my abusive husband. And then when it comes down to it, you're all like, and you just can't do it. You chicken out. Bitch. I mean, I also don't need, like, an excuse to beat a man, but that's just me. But that's not what we're talking about right now. Anyway, so, yeah, so he, like, chickens out the main girl and then the lesbian girl. It's so terrible I call her that. They get there, they're like, don't do it! And then, you know, the cousin's like, fine, you know, it's like, he says something so stupid, but it's apparently supposed to come off profound, like, we only die, like, kind of like a YOLO, like, you only die once, or like, we've got one life to die, or some fucking shit like that. And then that's when, like, the two girls were like, oh, that's it! What do you mean, that's it? You don't even go to, like, the library to look up microfiche to find the information like you normally do in the movie. You just have your cousin say some fucking hokey emo thing. They're like, living is hard and dying is easy, or whatever fucking shit, you know? And then they're like, oh my god, the heck is on head! They're like, if you put your blood on another person, then, you know, then you won't die, then you exchange the death. It's like, what? How do you conclude that? What made you? Huh? Girl. And so, then, like, they're like, oh, it's like, but instead of the blood thing, they were like, okay, you have to die. You have to flatliners it, right? You gotta die and you come back to life, and it becomes, that's where it becomes Final Destination, where it's like, oh, it skips you kind of stuff. So, freaking main girl, you know, she gets injected by too much insulin or something, goes into cardiac arrest, of course. And then, alright, she tries to, like, with the defibrillator, brings her back to life. She's not able to do that because fucking, you know, youth pastor guy shot up the machine, and then she's trying to, like, fucking defibrillate, stay alive, you know, trying to get her alive. But then her apparition, which I don't know what the fuck her apparition is supposed to fucking be, because it's just her Apparently, it's just her, the girl, because she's diabetic. That's also something you need to know, is that she's a diabetic lesbian, because that's how she has all this extra insulin for emergency reasons. But she has, like, I guess a jacket or something from the hospital. Probably she's a nurse now, because again they're high school students, all that stuff. And then she's just there with her hood up, just going like that was her apparition. It's like, so is your apparition you going to a diabetic coma? Like, go like having like anaphylactic shock from lack of like fine. Because the main girl, her thing was like, oh, because she was used to be a junkie, so she just saw herself just like using again. Okay, fine, you know, sure, but okay, whatever, you know. Anyway, so fucking, you know, because the girl, like, she bled out because because the I'm sorry, the diabetic girl, she got shot by the youth pastor because he was just all, you know, willy nilly just spraying like you do Americans. So her blood, you know, like just poured out, you know, like you do, just no, you know. And so the youth pastor was like, he dipped his finger in the blood, so there you go, and he was like, oh, by the fucking crazy, you know, radical Christian person, and all of a sudden, whoop, took the bat away from the diabetic girl, and then she was able to like resurrect, you know, the main girl. And so that guy, he got his fucking whatever his apparition was just like him, like fat and just like really fucked up. I guess just like he used drugs, so he was like older and just like looking. I don't know. But so then, you know, the two of them end up being like, oh, we're alive, everyone else is dead, you know, like the curse is gone kind of stuff, the bad juju's gone, whatever. And like, no, in no way have they like tried to like destroy the whistle or whatever, or they think they were able to destroy. I don't remember that part. It's just, you know, when a movie's bad and I watch it and then come the next day, and I literally just finished watching Forbidden Fruits, it's like the other movie, like if it's a bad movie, it's like, let's toss it out. Anyway, so it becomes like months later or something, and they're like in school and like they're together because they're lesbians, you know, kissy kissy goo goo, we're lesbians. And the main girl's got her cute little like Vanilla Mace like short haircut and all that stuff. And then the two of them are like, tum 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 tum, we're gonna go to school assembly. And then there's like a new girl, like an awkward Asian girl, who's like, I play violin. I'm like, is that me? Is that me? Was that me? Like, was that me? Did you know that? How did they know? How did they know an awkward Asian kid who played violin? Was that me? Anyway, so then they're like, we're gonna have the new girl play the school anthem on her violin. And I loved how like it was just like a spotlight that just followed her instead of just like the stage lights and thing. So she comes up with her violin, and then she goes up to the podium, and then she pulls out the fucking whistle because she had it in her fucking locker, because why not, right? Because that's what the plot said. And then she takes out the whistle, and then the two girls are like, no! No! And she's like, you know, and then the whole auditorium like, ah, you know, which means that then everyone in that school is fucked. The end. That was the movie. You know, awesome. You know what? I get it. Shudder is trying to just make their money back. They recently like raised their prices now. But yeah, that was Whistle. You know, it can't all be gems. You know, it can't all be fucking gems coming from Shudder. But there we go. The Whistle.